Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. You're still with me, it's Agatha. And for today, we will be talking about a letter of explanation if you will be applying for your minor child to accompany you to come to Canada. Now, if you come to Canada as an international student, your dependents are eligible to come with you as well. Your husband can apply for an open work permit and he can come to Canada and work and help you out with your studies and support you along your student journey. And also your dependent kids can also apply depending on their age. Now your dependents, children, can also apply to come here to Canada. The status would depend on their age. If they are 5 years old and above, they can apply for a study permit. Below 5 years old, you should apply for a TRV, temporary resident visa under visitor status. For this specific video, I will be sharing the letter of explanation that I made for my child when I applied for her to come with me to Canada. So just a backstory, when I got approved a loan for my study permit, of course I have 3 kids, so it's gonna be very hard for me to leave all my very young children back home in the Philippines. So the first person that I wanted to come with me to Canada is my youngest child. Gavin is 3 years old during that time, so I did fix her documents requirements and I applied for her visitor visa. Now this is different from a visitor record. A visitor record is you apply that once the person is already here in Canada, and and yes, it's basically like a visitor extension, but a visitor record enables the person to not leave Canada every 6 months. So the duration will be tied to the principal applicants, and the visit visa holder can stay here in Canada for until the expiry date, even without coming back and forth. Okay. So yes, this is the letter of explanation that I provided for Gavin. She was approved after this, so I hope I can give you a couple of tips that may help you, bring about your situation and enable your dependent to come here to Canada. Now, yes, aside from the letter of explanation, of course, there are the forms. You can look it up in the CIC website which forms you would need to provide for the application. And also there is a proof of funds required for any dependent that you bring to Canada. Now, the breakdown is 10,000 for the principal applicant, which is the student, 4,000 for the spouse open work permit, and then for any children that is a dependent, you should be able to provide 3,000 for each children. So when I did the application for Gavin, the minimum should be, for Gavin, I should be able to provide 3,000 minimum for her stay in Canada. And then of course I attached my study permit documents, I attached my approval letter, my visa, because I already had a copy of my visa stamped on my passport. And she underwent upfront medical because we applied as a family before, so she already has an upfront medical examination, so I did attach that to her application as well. And yes, so basically that's it. The amount for application for a TRV visitor visa is 100 Canadian dollars, and processing actually depends. Pre-COVID it was around just a couple of days, on average 2 weeks. Yes, but now with COVID ongoing, you have to check on the CIC processing times. It changes every now and then, and I believe it has been quite longer than the usual.
Okay, and let's start. This is the actual statement of purpose letter, or letter of explanation that I submitted for Gavin's application for TRV last 2018. Now, we'll look at it. So I did apply for her. I made this letter November 16. I submitted it November 18, and we got her approval December 4, 2018. So that was, I think, just a little bit over 2 weeks. So this is how the format goes. Of course, I addressed it to the visa officer's address in the Philippines, and put in the subject regarding letter of intent. So let's try and read this along with me. Dear Sir, Madam, I state your name, 27 years old, have been accepted in Bow Valley College under their Business Administration program with a duration of 2 years from January 7, 2019 to December 18, 2020. I have recently received my approved Canadian student visa and plan to come to Canada soon. I am grateful to be given this opportunity and I am more than excited to start this new journey. I am married and have 3 amazing kids. We have a very close bond with each other, and I am a very hands on mother. We have never been away from each other, and it really saddens me to be apart from them. But I know that this move is for our future, and we have to make sacrifices. However, my youngest, Brianna, is only 3 years old, and I cannot bear the thought of leaving her at such an early age. In line with this, I humbly and respectfully request for your approval to grant her a temporary resident visa to be able to come with me to Canada. Brianna is in that phase where vital transition and development happens, and the learnings instilled to her are what she will bring growing up. So, as a mother, I want to be with her every step of the way. I firmly believe that a child her age is important and best to be with her mother, most especially during the formative years. Living in a foreign land and away from my family will be ultimately hard and heartbreaking. They are my inspiration and the reason why I have set my goals. But having Brianna with me will greatly ease the pain and she will serve as my support where I can draw never ending motivation, inspiration, and strength to go on and fulfill my goals. It has always been a teamwork in our family. My husband and I always make sure we plan everything accordingly. As such, leaving him in the Philippines with my 3 kids is tough and not a good move considering he has work as well. Plus, most importantly, caring for 3 children alone will be hard for both sides, parents and kids. As with any teamwork, to make it easier for both of us and our family, physically, emotionally, mentally, and with the best interest of our kids, Brianna will come with me to Canada, while our 2 older kids, Brent and Athena, will stay with him in the Philippines as the kids are also attending school. My auntie has offered their home to us, and we will be staying with their family at this address. They will be supporting us. A letter for this is attached with food, transportation, and helping take care of Brianna whenever I have classes and school activities. My current class schedule for the winter intake is only on Mondays and Wednesdays. We have available insufficient funds on my bank accounts amounting to 1,979,000 pesos plus 100,319 pesos. Estimate conversion is 50,000 Canadian dollars to cover expenses for our stay in Canada. My first year tuition has already been paid in full, and I have also secured a 10,000 Canadian dollars GIC or Guaranteed Investment Certificate from Scotiabank. Kindly see attached documents for your perusal. I am aware of the rules and regulations of the visa I am applying for my daughter and will follow it all. Most especially, we will respect and honor the immigration laws and will only stay in Canada based on the approved validity of the visa. We will return to the Philippines to reunite with our family. I am in high hopes and prayers that you find this letter satisfactory and continue in granting my child her visa. Thank you. So that is the actual letter of intent that I submitted for Gavin. And of course, I have attached, as we have mentioned in this letter, there is also a letter of support from my auntie because they did serve as a sponsor for this application. So I hope this letter have helped you dig into what the most important factors are when you also create your letter of explanation if you are going to apply for your dependent child. Now, please keep in mind this is only for TRV, less than 5 years old, because when you apply for your child under a study permit, this is when they are 5 years old and above, then you have to detail their study plans as well. And yes, there's a lot of other factors involved in that. So I will create a separate vlog for that because there are different requirements as well before you are able to apply for a study permit for a minor children. So we're going to go through the actual application that I submitted for Gavin for TRV for minor children. We will look into the documents and the requirements and the forms that you need to fill out. And I'll try to explain a little bit of those things as well. Okay, and this is the actual application. It's a good thing that when you log into your GC Key account, all your past applications are going to be there. So this is how it looks like. Of course, there will be a pre-questionnaire or pre-questionnaire. They're going to ask questions about the applicant and what their purpose is, and a couple of situations regarding that application, and they will be the one to give you the documents required. So you are sure that what is listed here is what is required, because you do have a set of questions before you actually land into this page. All right, so first is the application form. This is the application for visitor visa or TRV made outside of Canada. So this is mandatory, definitely very important. And you do have the supporting documents. These are also mandatory. You have to provide the birth registration or certificate of the applicant, and then travel history. Now, for the travel history, what I did was I included a table for this as far as I can remember. So just a little bit of a table of, the dates that Brianna has traveled outside of the country, the duration, and which country, and the purpose of the travel. And we also included stamps in her passport. So, departures and arrivals, anything that has marking that will be proof that, they have traveled somewhere outside of the country. And I also did include a little note here. For example, if you really don't have much of a travel history outside of Canada, you can also include a travel history. Let's say you can position yourself as, you want to explore the country first. So that's why you don't have a lot of international travels, but you can provide domestic travels. I also included pictures of Gavin and our family outside of Canada. For example, we went to Hong Kong, Singapore, so Disneyland. Okay, and then passport is required. So for passport, you need to provide the bio page and any markings in the passport. So it's basically like what you've submitted in the travel history as well. And invitation letter, this is the letter that we have submitted. And I've also attached there, because in the invitation letter, I have mentioned that my auntie also has a letter. So I did include that as well in this specific portion, plus IDs of my auntie. And I did mention, as far as I can remember, that my cousin is also going to be helping out in taking care of Brianna. This is the relatives as well. So I did provide a copy of my cousin's PR card as well. There. And next is proof of financial resource of supporter and proof of means of financial support. This basically, I think I have submitted the same one. Yeah, I did submit the same document. So this is where I submitted also explanation letters from my sponsor. So if they do have letter of support, this is where you include that, and their financial documents. So my sponsors submitted COEs, bank documents, bank certificates, bank statements, properties that they have. In case of my auntie, she has sponsored housing, travel. Oh, sorry. She has provided accommodation, travel, yes, transportation and food. So she did submit financial documents plus proof of such as the house title, just to prove that they do have a house that we can stay in, and also car registration and driver's license, just to also prove that they are able to take care of our transportation. And this is where I also submitted my financial documents. So my GIC, my proof of tuition, and my savings account. Yes, and if you have work, you can also submit that here. So anything that may prove that you are able to support the applicant for their stay in Canada. And next is proof of upfront medical exam. This is showing up because there was a question in the pre-questionnaire if they have taken a medical exam in the past 12 months. I answered yes. So this is here, but if you answered no, then that will not be there. They will just request medical if required after you submit your application. So since Brianna has taken an upfront medical exam, we just submitted the copy of the upfront medical exam that we got from IOM. And digital photo required. It's 2x2 as far as I can remember. And next up is another form, family information, IMM 5641. This is the very short, I think 1 or 2 pages. Proof of relationship. What I submitted here is, since Brianna is my child, I did submit a copy of birth certificate, marriage certificate, and yes, I also did submit proof of relationship between us and the sponsor. So in this case, I have my auntie as my sponsor. So I also submitted birth certificate of my auntie and birth certificate of my mother. This is to prove that they do have the same parents, just to prove that she is my auntie. And this, I also included pictures of her family to prove that Brianna is my child. We've been together for quite a long time, and pictures of us with the sponsor as well. So luckily we did have all of that. So just to be sure, I also included that. But it's not mandatory, but it's up to you. I just want to make sure that I put in everything that I can, just so they don't have any loopholes against the application, because it's hard if you get refused and then try to reapply again. And client information, this is where I put in my school documents. I did submit my LOA, anything that has a relation to my school here in Canada. So letter of admission, proof of payment tuition, GIC, my visa, my approval letter, and just to prove that she's going to accompany me here to Canada. And I also attached a consent form. This is a letter signed by my husband that my husband is supporting and allowing me to apply for Canada's and apply for Brianna's visitor visa, and that he's allowing me to take my child over to Canada for the duration of my study. And I know it's not required because the child is 3 years old and the child should stay with the mother if they are less than 7 years old. But of course, it's always a good idea to come prepared just in case they did ask that. I think that's it. And these are the fees that you would have to pay. I paid $100 for her for this application, and I submitted it online.
That's it for today, guys. I hope this has been helpful for you. If you have any other questions, please feel free to connect with me. Thanks. I'll see you next time. Bye.